Hi, this is Ruth Royal here with Youth Pledge for Employers. Really happy to be talking to Sam Brooke today from the Happiness Club. Hi, Sam, and welcome.
Hi Ruth, thanks for having me today.
Oh, it's great to have you here. So, Sam, tell us first of all a bit about the Happiness Club.
So the Happiness Club is my baby, it's my passion. I am really passionate about sharing the things that I've learnt with other people. I was diagnosed with depression when I was 17. And I was on antidepressants for 26 years, and I tried to come off them a number of times, and was unsuccessful. But then I've actually been off them. It's almost 4 years to the day that I've been off my antidepressants now,
Oh, that's brilliant.
which is a huge achievement. I'm so proud of myself.
Oh, massive.
And I think that, I think anyone that's on antidepressants for long, they say that they're not addictive, but I just think that they are addictive. And I'm not even sure that they actually help that much. But anyway, I probably shouldn't. That's probably a bit controversial. But basically, what I found was that I started a journey when I was 21. I was put on the antidepressants when I was 17, and then I started this journey where I started reading self-help books, and I got really interested in self-help and personal development and learning techniques for happiness and well-being and balance. And I've learned all these techniques over those years that have helped me to come off my antidepressants and also helped me to keep a stable mental health. I mean, I'm not happy all of the time. I don't think anybody is. I know some people claim to be, but I'm not convinced about that. But I have managed to find things that do help me to achieve happiness most of the time and achieve a stable mental health. And so I'm really passionate about sharing my experiences with others, and I hope that my experiences will help other people. So it's an idea that I came up with probably about 10 years ago now, and it's only really just starting to come to fruition. I've been writing a blog about happiness and mental health for quite a long time. I work full-time at Archant, so it's a bit of a challenge, although I have just gone down from a 5-day week to a 4-day week. And I've just launched my first live course, which is Happiness Club for Unlimited Self-Esteem, which started last week at Cult Cafe on last Saturday morning, and that's a 6-week course. And I'm also starting to offer one-to-one coaching sessions as well.
That sounds absolutely brilliant and really fascinating to hear about how you've taken sort of something that's been such a big challenge in your life and you've turned that into such a positive thing for yourself. Would you tell us a bit more about your career journey overall, Sam?
Yes, so I studied business administration at university, and my chosen extra topics were mainly marketing, but I did a bit of accounts as well. When I left university, I really wanted to go into a sales or a marketing role, but what I found was that there was a lot of graduate jobs, but there was a lot of competition. And I remember going to this graduate day for a sales role, and I just felt so out of place, and I had no confidence. And I looked at everyone else and they all seemed so confident and so smart, and I looked at my clothes and I thought, oh, I just don't fit in here. And so I think after that I lost my bottle really for applying for graduate jobs, and then I started temping, but I was quite keen to have some kind of career path, so I started training to be an accountant, which I did really enjoy, but I really missed people contact, and the part of the job that I liked the most was the kind of customer service side of things. I was dealing with people inside the company, and I actually kind of had a bit of a reputation for being like good at customer service and good with people. And this was when I was 25, and I thought I've got another 40 years ahead of me, and this is not what I want to do for the rest of my career. So I then decided that I wanted to move into a sales role. So I actually handed in my notice and started looking for sales roles. And then I actually ended up going back to the same company. So I started looking for sales roles. I applied for a few in different places. There were some sales roles available at the company I was working at, so I then went back and worked for them in sales. And then since then I've worked mainly in sales or marketing or recruitment. So all of those things have got quite an overlap. Before now I'm at Archant, I'm working in sales, selling newspaper advertising and digital marketing. And before I worked at Archant, I had my own business, which was a social media marketing business. I was mainly writing blogs for people, doing their social media, and I've had I think I've tried to set up my own business 2 or 3 times, and I think of, you know, sometimes I think a lot of people that have very successful businesses have often had failed businesses first, and they're able to have those successful businesses because they've learned from, well, I think they say there's no such thing as failure, there's only learning experiences.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, I think that's very, very true. And I think just such an interesting reflection, isn't it, about resilience as well, isn't it? About how important that is. And thinking about sort of running your own business, there's obviously the well-being side that you're passionate about. But I'm thinking about like all your sales and marketing strengths, as it were, that you've gained over time. I'm sure they'll also be invaluable to you as you are setting up, you know, and starting your own business. In that sort of field, what kind of characteristics do you think it takes to be successful?
Well, within sales, I think definitely tenacity and resilience, and persistence. Well, I suppose that's kind of the same thing as tenacity. And this, I think, is something that I've really learned since I've been at Archant, because when I had my own business, I would often contact people about selling my services. And I think partly because it was my own business rather than somebody else's business, I was always a bit reticent about selling myself. Now I work at Archant, I work in sales, I get paid to sell, so I have to sell. And something that I've learned is that real persistence and tenacity. I mean, I remember when I first started talking to my manager about people that didn't answer the phone or said, "I'll call back next week" or "call back next month." And I said, "Well, I don't want to keep hassling them, you know, what should I do?" And he said, "People need to learn to say no." And he said, "So until you get a yes or a no, you keep calling them." And I thought, do you know what? He's absolutely right. So that's what I did. And I mean, I know there was a couple of clients that I took on that I probably called them regularly for a year before they said yes. And something I learned when I had my business from somebody that I met networking, he always used to say the fortunes in the follow-up. And I think that's so true. And in sales and marketing, we know that people need to see a message or hear a message a number of times. And so if you only contact them a couple of times, then there, you know, there's a low chance of them signing up with you or buying your products or services. I think they say, I can't remember now, I've seen this on LinkedIn, they say there's a really good page for salespeople on LinkedIn called Daily Sales, and it has lots of motivational stuff on there, but also very funny humour that probably only salespeople would get, kind of in jokes. But I saw something on there that said something like, the average sale is done on the 15th call or something, and most people give up after the 2nd or 3rd call, something like that. So I think the most important thing in sales is just to keep being tenacious and keep being persistent, and you know, not being afraid to put yourself and your services forward, because they're going to be valuable to people.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, that was so interesting to hear that. Really fascinating. And then I guess also sort of from the well-being side of things, what sort of things do you think that people, especially young people going into the workplace for the first time, can do to sort of support their well-being in the workplace?
Well, I think one thing that I've learned from my work life is that if there's something that I'm worried about, to talk about it and to talk to my manager rather than just worrying about it and, you know, trying to bottle it up. And I think communication is always the best policy, and it really can help alleviate a lot of stress. Although that wasn't really what you were asking, was it? It was about can't remember what you did ask now. I think you said about...
No, that's really helpful, about like things that you could do to kind of manage your well-being in the workplace. I think you're absolutely right. Like, you know, sort of sharing, you know, problem shared is a problem halved, they say, don't they? I think that's absolutely true about sharing with people. But I don't know if there's any other tips that you've got around managing well-being in the workplace.
So I find that I have like various practices that I do that really help me. So I think it's about finding what works for you. So I get up early, and I have a meditation practice. In the summer, I meditate in the garden. In the winter, I meditate in the bath when I get home from work. And I'm lucky, you know, I haven't got any kids, and my partner's really good, so he'll quite often cook dinner, which enables me to have the time to do that. I think just taking some time for yourself, and also during the day at work, if you can take if you're feeling a bit overwhelmed or a bit stressed, then take 5 minutes to go and sit outside and get some fresh air, and just, you know, do some mindfulness practices. There's a really good app called Headspace which can help with teach mindfulness, and you can also learn meditation on there as well. And I've got lots of different techniques that are different practices that I do on a daily basis. And I think it's just about starting with something easy. So maybe 5 minutes of meditation, for example, or a gratitude practice. So thinking about things that you're grateful for every day. That these things like seem like small things and might seem like, well, that's not going to work, but actually I've noticed that as you start incorporating these things, especially like gratitude, your mindset shifts. Instead of kind of focusing on the negative things, you start noticing, oh, that's, you know, I'm really grateful for that. I'm really grateful for that sunset. I'm really grateful for the lovely weather. I'm grateful for being able to get out for a walk on my lunch break. Grateful for cuddling the cats. I'm grateful for a lovely cup of tea, etc., etc.
Oh no, that was really brilliant and really inspiring as well, to think about how like those small things all contribute to the bigger piece that is well-being. I think that's really insightful. And finally, Sam, if you were to go back and speak to your younger self and give yourself a piece of career advice, what would it be?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, I think at the moment I'm really focusing on encouraging women to invoke their freaking goddess, which is something that I'm covering in my course that I'm doing about unlimited self-esteem. So I think my advice to my younger self would be, remember you're a freaking goddess.
That sounds absolutely brilliant. Oh, well, thank you so much, Sam, for your time today. It's been absolutely great to talk to you, and just really insightful, not only from thinking about those two very different things, sort of sales and well-being, that you don't necessarily associate together, but also to hear about your journey as well into your career. Thank you for your time.
Thanks so much for having me.